What's going on, guys? So before I start the latest episode of the Off the Ball podcast, just want to mention that have some good news if you haven't heard already. I just joined a new the Breakdown Sports, and I'm super excited to be a part of the team. They approached me about a week and a half ago, and they really loved the stuff I was doing for the podcast, and especially the work I've done with basketball. And we had a chat, and they wanted me to come aboard, and we talked, and I thought this would be a tremendous fit, and I'm super excited to be on the breakdown. Super excited. This would be the first podcast under the Breakdown Sports umbrella. So, I'm, like I said, super excited to be on the breakdown. A lot of great things coming up with the podcast, and doing some cool stuff with the breakdown. Got a lot of cool stuff coming. So, like I said, I'm just super ecstatic for them to have reached out to me and want me to be a part of their network. They're growing sports network, and they wanted to expand their basketball coverage, and I'm just happy that I could be a part of that. And got a lot of, like I said, got a lot of good things coming. Going to do some cool stuff as far as basketball, and I'm really excited to be a part of the team. So look out for the Breakdown Sports. We got some good things coming. The podcast is going to continue to be bigger and better. Got some big things in store. Like I've said, podcast continues to grow, and something I've done on the side just for fun has, grown into something really cool. And now taking that next step and joining the Breakdown Sports. A lot of great guys over there. So a lot of good podcasts over there too. So go check them out. They got some cool merch, some great articles. So check them out. This podcast will be uploaded soon. So this will be the first podcast on the Breakdown Sports. So go check it out. Go support the Breakdown Sports. Continue to support Off the Ball podcast, and enjoy the podcast. Are you looking to gear up with some unique designs featuring your favorite teams, players, sayings, or movie references? Or are you trying to represent the Breakdown in your hometown? Well, now you can get some of the coolest, most comfortable gear all while supporting local artists with TeePublic. TeePublic is an internet store featuring tons of shirts designed that can put you on different types of t-shirts, hoodies, three-quarter sleeves, or even swag out your dog in the new dog tee. Use our URL bit.ly/TheBrkdown Store. That's the BRKDWN store. Use that so they know we sent you. All sales benefit the creating artists, and if you use our link, we get a small portion of the profit. That's bit.ly/TheBrkdown Store. Check it out today.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Off the Ball podcast with me, your host, Chris LeBron, and I got a special show today. Today, we're going to get into a little bit of a throwback. We're going to talk about the 2013 draft, and we're going to do a redraft edition. And on today's show, I got two great guests with me today. I got Nate and Phil from HoopScoop. Guys, what's going on, guys?
Yo, what's up, Chris? Thanks for having us on. Yeah. We're going to draft one of the funnier drafts of the past decade, so.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. This draft is really intriguing to me. This is why I wanted to, I've been thinking about doing, the whole redraft stuff. I've seen some people do it, and I really wanted to get into this draft especially, because this draft is really, obviously we got a few guys, especially that one guy we all know who's, one of the faces of the league. But then after that, we get into a big drop-off. This draft is really one of the most, one of the most weirdest drafts, because you have a potential Hall of Famer, maybe two potential Hall of Famers, but then after that, you just get a lot of junk, So just first, before we start to get to the draft, what's your thoughts on this draft in particular?
It's kind of like you're in the trenches and you're just fighting. Because, the first pick is obvious, and then after that, you could probably say the next 2 to 3 picks are kind of in the same ballpark, and then the rest is all basically like up to interpretation who goes where. So it'll be interesting to have that kind of conversation.
And I remember when this draft was happening, people were saying how, there's no real blue chip player. It's just kind of like a depth draft, and it ended up just being one blue chip player and then not a lot of depth. So, I don't know, it just kind of shows how we actually never know what's actually happening in the draft.
Yeah, the draft's a crapshoot.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, Giannis wasn't even in the green room. He was sitting in the stands.
Yeah.
I mean, I just watched the draft again today. And I mean, some of the comps, it's crazy. I mean, even starting off with the first pick. I mean, I remember hearing Bill Simmons, his reaction to Anthony Bennett getting drafted. It's one of the most hilarious things I've ever heard.
Whoa!
Yeah, he's like, whoa! And they show the replay of his face, and he's just like, they just did that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
People weren't really hating on it because they're like, whatever. Like, there's no clear one, so they like went for a home run. Obviously, it was a whiff completely.
Yeah.
But,
That's swing big, though.
Yeah, that's a big. I mean, I think he's the worst number 1 pick ever.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he couldn't play at all. Like,
he never even sniffed it.
No, you never saw any glimpses of like, okay, he could, if he, he's not consistent, but at least like from, a game here, he could take over. No, you never saw that with Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, he was in the league for what, like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, he got traded. He got traded pretty quick too.
What first overall pick has been there that quickly, like in and out NBA too?
Yeah, he flamed out real quick. That's one. Yeah, like I said, this draft is very weird. So, all right, so let's get right into it. So what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna do the top 15 picks. So we're gonna get into that. Where we're gonna do the redraft. I'm gonna go first. Who's gonna go second?
Nate.
And then Phil third. So then I'll go 4, and then just like that. So. Let's get right into it. So, with the first pick was the Cleveland Cavaliers. They obviously took Anthony Bennett. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to go that way. I think I'm going to go different. Shocker. Real shocking here. Obviously, I think there's no real debate here who's the number 1 pick if we had to do this all over again. It's obviously Giannis Antetokounmpo. I can't even say his name right still. But Giannis, we all know, obviously former MVP, last year's MVP, possibly, obviously with the season, everything going on, could have possibly won back-to-back MVPs. He was taken 15th, and to think that, he's turned out to be one of the greatest players in the league now and possibly one of the greats of all time, it's no shocker that if we had to do this again, he would be the number 1 pick.
Yeah, that's
can't argue
about
with
it. Not much to say there.
Yep, yeah.
Bennett's got a chance to come back, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so with the second pick, we got the Orlando Magic. What do you got?
Yeah, so for this pick, I think that after Giannis, there's 3 guys that you can kind of put in a different order depending on what you value. It's Oladipo, it's Gobert, it's McCollum. Those are the 3 guys that have had really stellar careers. But I had the Orlando Magic sticking with the original pick and taking Oladipo again. I think that he's the guy out of those 3 that can really anchor a franchise when given the opportunity. And it started off slow, but I think he's a bona fide star right now, and I'm sticking with Oladipo too.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I had in my little mock write-up, because I thought, if we're talking about like what the team had at the point, they still had Vucevic, and they still had, I don't even remember what that Barron or Orlando Magic team looked like, but they needed like a go-to like wing guy that can score, and Oladipo is a better placement over Gobert.
Yeah, that I agree too. Oladipo was definitely my guy. Obviously a little bit of a late bloomer. He obviously started off for Orlando, then he went to Oklahoma City, I believe, and just didn't work out with him and Russ, and then he goes to Indiana and he blossoms. So he finally lives up to that potential, which I didn't know. After the Oklahoma stint, I was like, I don't think he's going to be that guy. I think he's just going to be a solid NBA player. I didn't think he would become an all-star. I just didn't see that, but he's shown that he has, obviously he got hurt the last season, but, once he gets back to full form, he's an all-star level player.
Yeah. Big Oladipo fan.
Yeah. All right.
So
third pick, we got the
pick.
Washington Wizards on the clock.
I'm going to have to say goodbye to Otto Porter, and I'm going to pick up Gobert. It just makes a lot more sense. I think Marcin Gortat was the center at the time, and I think having Gortat come off the bench for whatever salary, he's making crazy salary, but Gobert starting with John Wall, Bradley Beal, that would be just a ridiculous young core to run with, because those guys were probably like 22, 23 when Gobert would have showed up. I mean, their wing depth would have been horrible. I think Trevor Ariza might have been there. I don't know, but it was terrible. But, you know, Gobert's the best guy on the board.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, Gobert with an emerging John Wall and Bradley Beal, that could have been something in the East.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely could have been something.
Yeah.
All right. Fourth pick, we got Charlotte. This is where everything gets a little crazy.
I think there's one. You got one more lock, and then I think it's a toss-up.
Man, let's see. With the fourth pick, you know what? Yeah, I think C.J. McCollum's the pick here. I definitely go C.J. McCollum. You know, he's shown to be a tremendous scorer, and I remember watching him coming out of Lehigh. He played Duke. You know, I'm being a big Duke fan, and he took down Duke, and Lehigh was a 15th seed. You know, and he took down the mighty Duke Blue Devils. So that's when I first heard about him. And even though he's a smaller guy, the guy just knows how to create shots, and has shown that he's a 20-point scorer in the league with kind of the limitations physically he has, but he's shown that he's a scorer. And Charlotte could definitely use that. Him and Kemba Walker possibly. That's a nice backcourt right there.
That'd be quite an interesting backcourt. Defensively, a little. Trouble, but
very much.
It'd be fun to watch.
Okay, so the fifth pick, we got the Phoenix Suns on the clock.
Oh, all right. So this pick, they went Alex Len.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say goodbye to the big boy from Maryland. He's not gonna be my pick here. I'm gonna go with a guy. I'm gonna go with a guy here that might receive some pushback. I don't know. I think he's the best player on the board right now. I think that he can really help pretty much any team just because of the skill set he has, just pure scorer. And I'm going to take Dennis Schroeder with the fifth pick.
Okay.
All right. Okay. That's fair. I had Rocco and Schroeder right next to each other. So, I mean, that's a fair 1-2, flip it around.
Yeah, listen, he started with Atlanta. He was kind of with Jeff Teague for a while in the shadow. Then Teague leaves. He comes up. And he's playing really well, actually, as a starter at Atlanta. But the team was just so bad. And he's in Oklahoma City right now and putting up great numbers. He's having a great year, averaging 19 points, 47 from the field. He's shooting the ball well. He's just a guy, he's a perfect six-man kind of guy that will play crunch time for you just because he can score so well. So.
Yeah, and he's a winner. I just feel like he just wins. In Atlanta he was winning. Obviously they had the bad year, but that's because they got rid of everyone.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Oklahoma City and they're winning. And I think that translates to having a winning mentality translates to a team. So that's definitely a good pick. And Phoenix can use it because, Lord knows, they haven't, even to this point in 2013, they did not a lot of winning. The Nash days were far removed. So, this is definitely a guy that can jumpstart, their rebuild.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be in the league for years to come, just because he's a dynamic scorer. So.
Yeah, and he's young. He's what, 26?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys that is going to be a 15, 20-year guy. He's just one of those type of guys. So, all right, New Orleans. New Orleans is next on the clock.
All right, well, I expected Nate to go with Rocco, so now I'm kind of on the fence because I know New Orleans is running with Anthony Davis and not a lot else right now. So I'm thinking either Steven Adams or Rocco because, Anthony Davis wants to play power forward. You put a solid center in there that can really hunker down. That would be a pretty interesting, 4-5 combo. But I'm not sure if they really. I don't know if I want to have Rocco and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist on the wings for me. I don't know if I trust it. So I guess I think I'm gonna roll with Adams, having that interior defense.
Oh, wait, before we go, remember, now I remember, New Orleans traded this pick to the Philadelphia 76ers, because remember, they take Nerlens Noel, and he goes
Could we pretend they don't trade the pick?
Yeah, we could do that. Let's just pretend none of that happened. No trade.
Yeah, I assumed we weren't.
We're the GM, and we're just so set on Adam.
We're
we
like,
can't.
Steven Adams is.
Steven Adams. Okay. Yes, we'll do that.
I'll roll with Adams.
All right, that's a good pick. Definitely a good pick. That's just another like winning type player who does the little things that you don't see on the stat board. Sets good screens.
Right.
Creates Westbrook to get 13 rebounds a game.
Just the little stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I didn't think he'd be this good too. He's another guy where you just thought he'd be a typical role playing big man, but he's shown that he's way more than that. Got himself a $100 million contract. So.
Yeah, he's worked on his game. I mean, he was super raw at Pitt, like super raw. I remember watching his games, like, yo, this guy, it seems like he just picked up basketball yesterday. But he put that little flip shot into his game. He can make those now. He seems to really be a team player. Can't fault.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He seemed like he was just a brute coming out of college, but now he's refined it. He's got actual touch. He's a good guy. Good story.
Yeah, and like I said, another winner, another team guy that teams really need in order to take that next level. So
they wouldn't understand the team guy idea, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, you are not a team guy.
I'm sorry.
You've never heard of a glue guy.
Right now, the draft's exactly step in step with my big board. So see
it's gonna go away. So maybe we'll get a shocker here and there. So we'll see. So all right, we got Sacramento on the board. They took Ben McLemore. So what's the pick?
I think it's you, correct?
Is it me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm on the clock. Okay. All right, I'm not going Ben McLemore, obviously.
All right.
He's definitely improved. I think he was out of the league for a little bit, right? And then he came back with the Rockets.
That wake-up call, though.
Yeah, he needed a wake-up call because his game was just like, he was just nowhere. And with Houston, he fits that role perfectly with just being, an outside three-point shooter.
Yeah.
But with this pick, man, it's really tough right now. You know what? Darn it. You know what? I like this guy. I'll go Robert Covington. Robert Covington. He's a solid all-around player. Another 3-and-D type of player, and something Sacramento definitely needed. With that young core at that time. So I'll go Robert Covington.
All right. I like that.
Can't fault that pick. That's what I had at 7 as well.
Just another glue guy, because at this point, I mean, the way this draft is, you're just going to get a bunch of guys at this point who just got to fit, because obviously after this point, it gets real dicey with this draft.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting from here on out.
That's very interesting. All right, so what we got next? We got Detroit.
Nate, start the
game. Detroit, they took KCP out of Georgia, and believe it or not, I'm sticking with KCP.
Okay. You know what? I agree. I would go that same way too. I think I'd say chalk with them.
Listen, it didn't fully work out, but I mean, who would have worked out with the way that Detroit has been run the last 10 whatever years? I mean, he's a guy who can hit threes. He can play defense. He's an off-ball guard. If you put the right team around him, I think he can produce just like he's doing this year with the Lakers.
You don't think Otto Porter would have been a better choice?
Otto Porter, he's too erratic.
I think Otto Porter's a better shooter and definitely better defensive. He's just a bigger body to put on someone.
KCP, I mean, this year he's shooting the ball as well as anybody. So
I mean, Otto Porter, when he's not hurt, granted, he's
always
more
hurt.
Of an injury. But when he's on the floor, I think he's definitely the better choice than KCP. They're close, similar body, similar play, but Porter's just a bigger guy.
I had Porter 9. I just think that KCP has been a more reliable guy throughout his career. I feel like every time I watch Otto, he just floats in and out of the game, and half the time I forget he's even there. So I don't know. KCP's got a little more dog in him.
Okay, well you sold me there. I disagree with you, but I do like the idea of the dog.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like with Otto Porter, he's just collecting that check. For some reason Washington gave him $100 million. Still can't believe they did it, but. I definitely would go KCP. Otto Porter doesn't do it for me.
All right, fair enough.
All right, so who we got next? We got Minnesota is on the clock. They took Trey Burke.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, another guy who was out of the league for a little bit, came back.
Burke was one of those college darlings.
Yeah,
oh my God, they loved him in college.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to separate it when they're so good in college. Like, you know they're not going to work out in the pros, but you just gotta because they're so fun to watch in college.
Yeah.
And then as you expect, it doesn't work out. But it's what it is.
Yeah, so for that, I mean, with Minnesota, I'm going to go with a different, smaller guard that can score in bunches, but now they can do it on the professional level, and that's Seth Curry. I just think, very, very unheralded. He was undrafted. So I think he's a better, at this point, he's probably a better version of Trey Burke.
Better version. Way better version. I think that's what you wanted from Trey Burke, was to be what Seth Curry is now.
Exactly.
But Seth Curry, I mean, his story, obviously we know he's Steph's brother, but what he, going from Liberty to Duke, and then not having not finding a spot in the NBA, and he finally got his chance, and then now has become a really, really good NBA player.
Right. Yeah. Good story. Good guy. Good kid.
My big board is now distorted, but all right, we'll see.
Who'd you have at 9?
I'd Curry a little bit lower, but we'll see. We'll see how my draft goes.
Kevin Love and Otto Porter are gonna mesh?
I had one more guard above Curry, but you'll see who it is.
I know who it is. It's your darling. I can already see it in my mind.
All right. Well. Hi, Chris.
We'll get there.
Your pick.
I'm on the clock, right? Okay. Yeah. I'm on the clock, and Portland. Portland took C.J. McCollum, but we had C.J. McCollum going 4th to Charlotte. So, Portland, they got an up-and-coming Damian Lillard. Oh, man. This is tough. Not a lot of good bigs here. You know what? Let's go Nerlens Noel.
That's what I had.
Let's go Nerlens Noel. Yeah.
Not even on my big board.
Oh,
Nate,
wow.
What are you talking about? He's a reliable backup now.
I have other reliable backups.
Do you think with him it was the injuries, or he was just overvalued because
I don't
high
think
school
he has
guy?
that much game. I don't think he has that much
I think he was just really athletic, and then he got unlucky in circumstances like in Philly. But I mean, now he's kind of figured it out, and he's using what he has to his advantage, and he's pretty solid in what he does off the bench.
Yeah, he's a solid role, but isn't it crazy how much the NBA has changed from what this is 7 years ago to like guys like him would even get maybe a 2nd round pick. It's they wouldn't even be considered first round picks. Guys like that. If you can't shoot, if you can't have a little jump shot and you're big like that, you're not gonna get drafted high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Props to him. He got the bag and he's chilling.
Yeah. Another guy got the bag and has done nothing but it's a story of this draft. All right, so we got the Philadelphia Sixers next on the clock.
Philly. All right, so this is the first full year of Philly's rebuild, where they're just completely stripping the cupboard bare, and they got nothing. They had Michael Carter-Williams here, who won Rookie of the Year. That was ridiculous. We're not going to go MCW. We're going to go with somebody who hopefully has a little longer career. And since he hasn't been taken yet, I'm going to take Otto. I'm going to take Otto Porter. I think he's a decent piece. And honestly, if you had Otto in Philly right now, I don't think it would be a terrible fit. So
yeah, he would definitely fit there for sure.
I think he would be a solid piece to start that rebuild with at 11. So Philly, I'll take Otto.
He would fit perfect there. 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be horrible that first year, but I think he'd be a solid piece to start your rebuild with.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, who else? We got Oklahoma City on the clock.
Yeah, so for mine, I'm kind of on the fence. I was thinking of Otto Porter because I thought Nate's distaste for him would just leave him on the drawer or the table for me. But now I'm kind of stuck between Dedmon and Hardaway. I mean, both are kind of fill the spots because OKC didn't have a 2 guy until they later in the draft Andre Roberson, and then Kendrick Perkins was just kind of useless by the end. But I can't scoop up Adams anymore.
Yep, he's off the boards.
So I guess I'm going to roll with Hardaway. He's just the better out of the options of Hardaway or Dedmon.
That's my guy. I would have taken over Curry. I would have taken Hardaway over Curry. But.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway, he went to the Knicks. I was ecstatic when he went to the Knicks.
Everybody liked him.
I freaked out. I mean, I thought that was a great pick, and then the Knicks traded him. You know, a few years later, they just stopped using him. They traded him to Atlanta, and then they brought him back at a really high price. High price, and then he wasn't that guy anymore. So, yeah,
I remember when Hardaway went to Atlanta. When Hardaway went to Atlanta, I was like, wow, I guess the Knicks, like, they made a good decision. He's kind of like, he's not that good. He's just like, takes a lot of shots. And then I heard that they wanted to sign him again. I was like, oh no.
And they
basically just doubled the contract.
And they overpaid for him. It's like, I think Atlanta had like a 4 for $45 deal, and then the Knicks were like, you know what? Let's give him $30 million more. And then Atlanta was like, all right, goodbye. Like, of course, ridiculous. The Knicks will do it, and they realized real quick, like, oh my God, we made a horrible decision, and traded him a year later with Porzingis.
He's playing really well this year, though. Very surprising, honestly. I don't think he was going to be this high efficiency efficient of a shooter this year, but he's a huge piece for that Mavericks team this season.
Don't get me wrong, he's good in his role, but I mean, he's not.
So why'd you go Curry? Why'd you go Curry over Hardaway?
I just thought Curry's like a better ball handler. I mean, I know Timberwolves at the time had Ricky Rubio and Flynn, when they thought he was going to be good with Kevin Love. But I just think Curry would be a better shooter alongside them than Hardaway.
All right, fair enough. I had Hardaway Chad.
What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, and
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
And Hardaway, like you said, Hardaway is not the guy of your team. He can't be your number one. He showed in the Knicks he cannot be the number one guy. He's kind of like Julius Randle. It just guard.
Honestly, yeah, he's like the guard version.
It's the guard version of Julius Randle. But if he plays in his role and is your fourth scorer, then he's perfect in that role. But not as your number one or number two. No way. And that's what he was with the Knicks, and that was disastrous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, Tim Hardaway, that's a good pick for right there. But, okay, next with the Dallas Mavericks. We got Dallas on the clock. Dallas took Kelly Olynyk. You know what? I'm going to stick with Kelly Olynyk. I think he's a good player. He could shoot the three, big guy. It fits in today's NBA. So that's definitely, I think that's a good pick. Definitely, I'll go Kelly Olynyk. And he replaces Dirk. Him and Dirk will split minutes. Obviously, Dirk's still there at the time. I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, I had Lennox slotted around there, so can't hate on that pick. All right, so now we're talking Utah. Utah took Shabazz Muhammad. He was
oh my God,
he was a casualty of the Hoop mixtape era. Because his oh my God, his mixtape is one of the best mixtapes ever.
Oh yeah. Him and McLemore were really good.
Yeah.
I think he averaged less than a half assist per game in his career. Something ridiculous. He just didn't pass. He never passed.
That sounds like Shabazz.
Yeah, he just got that dog mentality. You gotta respect it.
I also saw a highlight of him, and I remember this vividly. This one I knew he was going to be terrible. It was when he was in UCLA. They won the game on a buzzer beater. One of his teammates made the shot, but he thought he was open, and the shot went, and he just put his head down and walked away. He wasn't even happy. He's just, he's honestly just a selfish player. It is what it is.
Oh, he's literally one of the most. I mean, he was the number one recruit in the country.
I know, it's crazy. You feel bad for him in a sense, everything just kind of came crashing down, but he wasn't made for it, clearly.
Yeah.
Nah, he's just one of those guys that just never understood how to play basketball at the pro level. You can see him in the playground, see him at a YMCA, and you'll see how skilled he is, but then he could just never put it together.
Yeah, he didn't know how to play a team game.
No, definitely not a team player. Definitely not a team player, and that's why he's not even. He's not in the league anymore, right? Yeah, I haven't heard of him.
No.
Yeah, he's been out for a little.
League or something.
Also funny that the Jazz took him, being that we kind of think of the Jazz as being this very almost like the Spurs light in a sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that the Jazz took him. I didn't even realize that, honestly.
Yeah, I think they traded him to Minnesota though. I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he ended up on Minnesota.
Yeah, he ended up on in Minnesota. So yeah, even Utah was like, nah, we're good. No, we don't want him.
Well, I'm not gonna take him. I'm gonna take Daniel Tice.
Okay.
A guy who
Okay.
I think would fit really well within the Jazz culture that they are starting to build at this time. They weren't really as we know of today, but Tice is a guy that is really a jack of all trades. He doesn't really do anything great. He does a lot of things relatively well. He can guard big men. He can stretch it out and shoot. He's a team guy, plays super hard. I think Tice is a guy that you can bring off the bench, and he'll play 20, 25 minutes in a big game, and you can be happy with it. So I'll take Tice.
Yeah, another glue guy, another big-time glue guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, he played big minutes for those Boston teams that went deep the last few years. So you definitely can't go wrong with guys like that. He's kind of like. Yeah, he's kind of like Steven Adams, like a poor man Steven Adams. You know, just
you like dilate him. You kind of like shrink him a little bit.
Yeah. He's an unseasoned version of.
But he can stretch the floor with Adams can't do. He can take that to the point line.
Yeah, for sure, definitely for sure. Yeah, that's a good pick. That's definitely a good pick. All right, so to close out the redraft, we got the 15th pick. The Milwaukee Bucks are on the clock, who obviously took the guy who went number 1 in this draft, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So who would be the pick here?
Well, there's nowhere to go but down. So all my big boys, the only people I have left is Dedmon and Robertson. I thought about Tony Snell, but it just doesn't make sense, you know? The guy has,
Why not?
He just doesn't make the list, you know?
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I know Nate has a big hard-on for Tony Snell. So that's why I'll go with Andre Roberson.
Okay.
Andre Roberson, okay. Another 3-and-D guy.
Yeah. I just thought in Milwaukee's scheme, they don't really need a center because right now they got Bogut, I believe, and they got Jennings.
Now, Chris, we had a pre-show debate, okay? Between Phil, myself, and my brother, and they were very, very emphatic in the fact that Andre Roberson's a clear-cut pick over Snell. I would rather draft Tony Snell in the slot because, A, he can shoot the ball, and B, Roberson is injured. We don't know when he's going to come back. So I'm just scared. In 2020 hindsight, in this hypothetical, knowing that a guy missed 2 full seasons with an injury and I don't know his future, I'd rather go Snell. What are your thoughts?
I take Snell, too. You know, he's a bigger guy, too, so, you know, can guard a little bit. You know, but the uncertain of Andre Roberson with his injury, I mean, he's been gone for what? He's been gone for a long time now, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
What, he ruptured his Achilles or something? I forgot the injury.
Patellar tendon. We looked this all up before. That's why we know.
Yeah, so you know he's been out for a while. I mean, but he was a nice piece for Oklahoma City. A guy who could shoot, and defend. Couldn't hit free throws though, but definitely, definitely a solid player when healthy.
Yeah, I just thought Roberson's ceiling at the top for those 2-3 years in OKC is going to be better than whatever Nate Snell churns out for the rest of his career.
Right.
No offense to Tony Snell when he listens.
No love for Mason Plumlee? FIBA World Cup participant?
I thought about it, you know. Man.
The Plumlee family has a lot of guys in the league. What about Michael Carter Williams? And I think Michael Carter Williams?
Yeah.
No, he's the Rookie of the Year. No love for the Rookie of the Year.
I mean, you could get some hype out going from the first year, but then after that, you know what's coming.
Yeah, what happened? What do you think happened after? Because that first year, he was almost a triple-double guy. You know, then after that, it was just.
Well, part of it was the circumstance. Part of it was the circumstance.
Yeah, no, he was given.
Where it was a high volume thing. He could never shoot. So even that rookie year, he wasn't shooting high percentages really.
Yeah.
He was on the court a lot. He had the ball a lot, and he did some nice things. I think he's not like a guy that deserves to not be in the league, but realistically, in today's NBA where he can't shoot a lick and he's not some kind of crazy offensive talent like a Westbrook or anything, he's a backup point guard is what he is. So.
Yeah. I think as his career was kind of taking off is when we really started to go into the three-point era, and he just kept dropping his value.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely the game didn't adapt to what the game is now, for sure. But out of all these picks, what guy do you see has the best situation for them, and which player is in the worst situation?
For our new draft?
Yes.
I was actually telling Nate this before.
Yeah, Phil, share your Giannis thoughts.
Yes, because there's a possibility Giannis and LeBron together. That's a possibility that happens.
We also went down the rabbit hole of, like, with the way Giannis' career went. Like, I mean, with the Bucks, you don't know how much time they devoted to his development exclusively, especially, like, when I think it was, like, 2014, 15, like, Jason Kidd was the coach, and he wanted Giannis to be the point guard, and he wanted him to have all, like, the ball handling. Yes. And so that really helped him develop into, like, the ball handling, you know, player that he is now in, like, the form of a wing. And so I think, like, if he was in Cleveland, he might not get the opportunity, or he might have even been, I mean, if they knew he was going to be an MVP, they can't do the Kevin Love trade, would Cleveland have a chip right now? Because we don't know if Giannis is ready to be in that Kevin Love role.
Yeah, he might have got traded. I didn't think about that. He might have got traded.
Yeah. That was just my rabbit hole thinking.
I'd also be a little scared of.
You know what? Not even might have. He would have got traded. There's 100% chance he gets traded.
Yeah,
100%.
honestly.
He's more raw at this point. He's more raw than Bennett at this point in 2013. You know.
I think the next draft is Wiggins. So, you know, how does that shake up? Who knows? Maybe they get the first pick. Maybe they don't. But there's a good chance that Giannis is included in some kind of trade when LeBron comes back.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That I didn't think about that, but that's absolutely right. I mean, Wiggins and Giannis might have been Minnesota Timberwolves. That would have been crazy, you know. And would Giannis still have the success in Minnesota?
Yeah.
You know, because we see Minnesota. They don't know the hell they're doing over there.
They don't.
They make the Knicks look like a competent franchise. I know my Knicks get trashed on. Where are you guys from?
We're Knicks fans.
You're Knicks. Okay, so you know, as bad as we're ran, Minnesota is way worse ran than the Knicks.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's bad over there. It's really bad over there. You know, so it would have been interesting to see Giannis and how his development would have been if he gets traded from Cleveland to Minnesota, to get Kevin Love. And see his development and see if he's still on track, if he's still on track to be an MVP type player. That's a big what if. I'm really curious to see what would have happened.
Yeah, fun to think about. Or not. Yeah. Whatever side you're looking at.
Isn't it? But it's crazy how just one change of a draft pick. You know, if they would have went this way, how the whole league changes.
Exactly.
You know, it's crazy, and it just shows like how didn't people see this with Giannis? And I had on Matt Babcock, whose father was a part of the Milwaukee Bucks front office that drafted Giannis.
Really?
And I remember asking him so how the hell did you find this kid? And he was just like, they heard about him. Giannis didn't even play for like a high level team in Greece. He played for like the junior college level type of basketball there.
You look at his highlights, it looks like the JCC.
Yes, it looks like a CYO league. Like he's playing against guys and that's why people didn't really take it serious. Like, oh, he's just a guy who's just bigger than everyone and he just dunks over everyone.
Yeah.
And I remember telling, he's like, yeah, they didn't. A lot of people didn't see it, and then we just said, you know what, where we are, if he's there, we'll take him because the potential's there. You know, and potential could get you fired. You know, potential could get you fired, but at 15, at 15,
you got to swing for the fences.
Yeah, and man, did they hit a home run on that pick.
But really, you should be swinging for the fences the whole draft, because as we established through this draft and where people went, like it's a crapshoot. So if there's, and especially this draft, which everybody knew there wasn't that blue chip guy. If there's a draft to take a risk, this is the draft to do it. I think that's kind of part of the reason why people got scared of Luka, is because there were those kind of blue chip guys. There was Ayton and there was Bagley, these college players that we saw, that we knew, and teams just kind of got scared of the unknown of Luka. So they just went Ayton and Bagley. I'm not saying they're bad players, but they're no Luka. So
I could say Bagley's a bad player, but...
Oh, come on.
Don't say that. It hurts me.
Don't say about Marcus.
Don't say that. It hurts me. I thought he should have been the first pick.
Really?
I thought he should have been the number one pick, man. Him and Luka. I had Bagley 1, Luka 2.
Yeah.
I think Bagley's still going to be good. I feel like it's going to be like Brandon Ingram. He's going to have that Brandon with him. He's still young. Come on, Phil. Don't do that to me. Don't say that.
Just saying, just floating it out there. I have opinions.
But the point is, like, people got, I think, a little scared of Luka because it was an unknown. They didn't really know what was happening. And it's the same kind of thing with Giannis where people were like, you know, well, they didn't know what to make of it because it just wasn't. I think honestly, something similar might happen this year with LaMelo in a sense because we haven't really seen him. Kind of going on a tangent here, but for this year's draft, LaMelo hasn't played college basketball. His high school basketball, AAU, has been all over the chart. You know, he's always played in weird situations. It'll be interesting to see where he goes because he's American, but he's been in a situation where he's been removed from the American basketball culture, and he's a little bit unknown. And if he hits, it could be a home run. Just like, you know.
He scares the living hell out of me, though, as a prospect, though.
Yeah.
You know, I think it scares everybody. Nobody knows what to make of it. It's like these things that people don't know what to make of them. You can either go one or two ways. You can take the risk, or you can just kind of go the safe route. But like it goes both ways because then you get a guy like I don't know Dragan Bender who was also like a foreign guy that nobody knew much about, and they took a risk, and that was a swing and a miss. So
I mean the foreign guys are really a hit and miss, and I think this draft coming up is kind of similar to this draft where you don't really have a definitive number one pick. You don't have that consensus, and there's a lot of guys in this draft, and I think this draft compared to 2013 is like that. But you could still find that one guy who could end up being, like a Denny Avita could be the next Giannis.
Don't tell Phil that. Don't tell Phil that.
Is that a Denny guy?
Denny looks a lot more Hazonia to me.
Herzonia, man. Oh, see, for every Doncic, there's a Herzonia. Oh man, I love the Herzonia on the Knicks that one year. That was fun. That was
entertaining.
He blocked LeBron. He blocked LeBron. Come on.
Yeah. But he's one of those guys. Herzonia is a guy like you see flashes. You're like, man, if he could put it together, he could be one of the best players because he's so talented. But then it only happens one every fifth game. So that's the problem with guys like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like this draft is looking a lot like this one, and I think that's like a big thing for LaMelo because when he's like that kind of like unknown variable, if he was in last year's draft, he probably would have been on the late end of the lottery because people are like, I don't want to take the risk. There's so many more proven prospects. And I don't want to deal with the Ball family. But this year is just like a certain situation.
Yeah, a year removed from that draft. Yeah, like I said, that draft he would have been a late mid first round pick, but a year away from his dad hasn't been as noisy as of late, so I think that benefits him a lot. That definitely helps that his dad's been quiet of late, and that Lonzo has been better. I think that helps him too because people get scared of taking a brother who hasn't had success. Whether that's fair or not, it happens for some reason. So I think Lonzo playing better, his dad being quiet, but he still scares the living hell out of me because I don't know if he has that hunger to be great, because he's had all the success. He has millions of followers on Instagram. He's had TV shows. He's got his own sneakers. He's played. He's already lived the life before even making it to the league. So what's that? When he comes to the league, especially if he comes to like New York, is he going to have that drive to want to be great? And that's, how you guys are Knicks fans, they could chew you out if they don't see that. That defensive, he don't play defense. You think that's going to rock in New York? He scares me. I know the potential is great. He's an offensive machine. He could do everything offensively. Great passer, great shooter. Has unlimited range. He just really scares the living crap out of me as a prospect.
And that's what I'm saying. You're right. He scares probably all GMs. So it's just which way do you go? Do you go the maybe safe route, or do you swing for the fences? And I don't know if there's a right way. I probably lean towards the swing for the fences thing, just because the draft is who the hell knows anyway. So why not just try it? But it could come back.
Your boy Uturu.
It could come. Daniel Uturu. You should check it out. But nah, I'm just kidding.
Hype it up.
No, we will. But draft's a crapshoot. Bottom line. So.
But since we're talking about we did our 2013 draft, I did want to get into this draft a little bit. And since you guys are Knicks fans, what's your thoughts? What do you think the Knicks are thinking for this draft? You know, let's hypothetically think they get the number 1 pick, and the NBA gods finally give it to us. Who do you think? Who do you like if you have the number 1 pick right now and you're in New York? Who's your guy? Who should they take?
I'll let Phil go first because he's done extensive draft research. So I will.
Yeah, I do get
Let
bored
him
in
lead.
classes, and I like to do some research.
Go, shoot.
Honestly, I'm kind of conflicted. First overall pick is dangerous because you have the most pressure on you. You can make the biggest mistake. I like Edwards the most. I don't think he's going to be like that good. I honestly see him as like an Oladipo type.
Same.
Like,
I agree
he
too.
might not be that good. He could be. He could not be. You don't know. Depends on his shooting. And then LaMelo, I like him as well because he's like he can play make. He can't play defense, but he has like the body and the tools to be able to. So I'll roll with Edwards, but I don't know.
What about your Frenchie, Phil?
Killian's not
Killian? I love Killian Hayes, man. I love Killian Hayes.
I've done my research, and I'm waiting for the Knicks to lose the lottery, and then I'll fall in love with Killian Hayes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love him. I love his game. I love his game. I think he's the perfect fit for the Knicks. He compliments RJ so much. I think it's a match made in heaven. I don't know. I just hope he's there wherever the Knicks pick. I hope he's there. I think that's a match made in heaven. Him and RJ. Him and RJ is perfect. Yeah, and Frank, you know, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. So we'll see. You know, the NBA gods don't really like us, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, man, this was fun, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anytime.
Yeah. So what do you promote anything you guys have done? I know you guys have done some YouTube stuff that's been really cool. You know, if you want to promote that, shoot, whatever, social media, go.
Yeah. So Twitter @HoopScoopPod. Follow us. That's where we post all of our content whenever we drop it. We do these podcasts whenever we can, but recently we've been really leaning into the YouTube a little bit, making some cool videos. Most recent video is about an NBA draft prospect named Daniel Oturu. If you don't know about him, great. Check out the YouTube video. If you do know about him, still great. Check it out. Learn why he's going to be the most overlooked prospect in this year's draft. Really excited to have that video out there. And YouTube videos should be coming out every week. HoopScoop on YouTube and @HoopScoopPod on Twitter.
Cool. And I know we did. I was on your guys' show, and we did that fantasy draft. Who won that? I know I was doing good for a little bit, and then I saw Reese the last poll, and I lost by literally like two.
That was crazy. That was crazy. It was literally 51%.
To 49%. I'm not gonna lie, it ruined my day.
I saw that I was behind by a lot because it was you and me in the final, and I was like, I guess I'm like whatever. He's 2/3, I'm a third. That's it. I can. But I can't.
That hurt. Yes. That was tough. But congratulations for
the adversary.
But I was on their show and we did a fantasy draft, and I really liked my team. I really thought that I would have to get the most votes at the end of the day and be voted the best team, but I fell literally a centimeter short of winning. But it's okay. That's okay.
But the major takeaway was Nate's team was atrocious.
I came in third. I didn't come in last.
You should have come in last.
Make fun of Max.
But that was fun, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on, and this was fun, guys. Like I said, I appreciate you guys coming on again. I'll make sure to have all the links, to your YouTube show and your Twitter.
Appreciate it.
In the bio once I get the show up. But thanks again for coming on, guys, and thanks for everyone for listening. Definitely going to do more of these draft shows because that was fun doing that. I just did the 2013 draft with these guys, and just going to figure out what's the next draft to do. I like to do draft. I'm going to try to do drafts that have a lot of weirdness in it. So I'll figure out the next draft. I'll have that posted. But thanks again for you guys coming on. Thanks everyone for listening. Make sure to go to Off the Ball Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and I just got a new website built up, Off the Ball Podcast at Weebly, so that's up. So make sure to subscribe on the podcast available on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, everything. So go subscribe, go rate, download, and Till next time, guys. Peace.